Let's see. Yo, Mally Thomas, what's good? Yeah, there's soothing Minecraft gameplay in the background. Did you miss that part? I'm gonna talk about the top 10 GMs, franchises, and players from the past decade, but I didn't want to play 2K in the background, so I'm playing Minecraft instead. And it'll be much more soothing for everyone that way, because, man, I didn't know until I started, like, recording this, because I actually recorded, like, a full video doing this, but I was like, man, I don't want to edit the whole thing. I can't read the other half of your comment, Amari. I would get on YouTube. I'll get on YouTube and read it, I guess. What'd you say? For attention span might be special. Oh yeah. Everyone's special. That was inspirational. Yeah, this is like the TikTok videos, you know. Oh, sheep. But yeah, this will be soothing for you guys in the background. Anyways, let's get rolling. We're gonna start with the top 10 players because I know that everyone's really here for the top 10 GMs. So I'm gonna edge you guys for a little bit. Damn, this music is just a little loud for me though, unfortunately. Alright, let's get the music down. About 50. It still seems really loud. Did it save? Yeah. Let's just turn like the... No, I don't want to turn the main sound down. That still feels really loud, but it's fine. Starting with the top 10 players of all time. A couple honorable mentions. We're going to start with Anthony Davis as our first. Alright, assholes. You did this to yourself. No more music. Now what? What was that? What are you? Oh, it's a little rabbit. That's what. Anyways. But yeah, AD is going to be our first honorable mention. This guy won like 3 straight depoys. But he just wasn't in the league long enough to be super relevant, you know. Put on 1? Okay. Alright, asshole. We saw it the first time. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we can have quiet music in the background. But yeah, AD, man, he just wasn't around long enough to be a guy that I would consider personally in my top 10 players of an entire decade. You know, just got drafted a little too late, had too many years of being a youngin' before he actually busted onto the scene as the star he quickly became. Definitely, I expect him to be in our top 10 of the next decade, but he's just kind of in a weird spot, so he didn't make the top 10 of this decade. Other honorable mention, Dwayne Wade for like the same thing, but opposite reasoning, really. Super good player, had like a lot of All-NBA like first and second team and all defensive team appearances, but man, he just fell off so far, like so far into the decade that I couldn't justify putting him any higher, you know. So now we'll move on to the actual top 10. And the first one, I'm going to put the Joker, Nikola Jokic, on, and he's at 10 for the same reason. I mean, he had probably one of the best seasons we've seen in the no, D-Wade did, but not in the decade. But the Joker won one MVP, so I've got to put him on here. But he was the same reason as Anthony Davis, really. He just didn't have long enough success because he was drafted so late into the decade. But it'd be a crime to put someone who averaged a triple-double for the first time since Oscar Robinson and not have them on the list. So he's going to go on here. Next up, let's see. Number 9, we're looking at DeMarcus Cousins for the Kings. Doesn't have the individual accolades despite his rings, despite his team success. He made All-NBA, he made a couple All-NBA teams. I'll give him that. Was super good, but wasn't ever a consistent All-NBA first team guy. Just the rings is a big thing, you know. You got to account for his success, and he did make All-NBA several times. But I couldn't put him any higher than that just because he didn't have as much individual success as other guys on the list. And after that, we'll go Kawhi Leonard here at number 3. Hold up. Not 3. Kawhi Leonard at 8, which is the third guy we've talked about here. And Kawhi is more of the same. Yeah, Finals MVP, true. Like, that's what I'm saying. Both of these guys are here for similar reasons. They've had great playoff success, and that's what puts them in the top 10. But as far as their individual accolades go, Kawhi's are definitely, honestly, I think I might have. Yeah, I think I'd stick. I think I'd stick with this. I could see if you put Kawhi higher though, because Kawhi does have some all-defensive performances. Actually, he does have a D-boy. In fact, I would honestly probably, in hindsight, put him above the next guy. Now, yeah, really good guy, but I might honestly, like in hindsight, I made this list like one night while I was tired, so I might go and like contradict myself. Honestly, I think Kawhi deserves to be more of like a 7. Move him up one. Oh, look at you, bud. Wish I had a bone. I'd bone you. Anyways, number 7, John Wall, and you know John Wall was second in the MVP race one season, so I mean you got to give him that. He had some really great solo success, made some All-NBA first teams, Finals MVP, played on some really good Wizards teams. Just didn't have an MVP, and that's going to keep him behind some of these guys that I personally put ahead of him. I could see if you have him higher. I mean, this is a really hard list to make, man. But I could understand if someone disagrees with me. If you personally have him higher, that's valid. For me, I don't think so. On to the next. Number 6, I think, is what we're on to now. Gonna be Blake Griffin. Blake had a ridiculous MVP season, averaged like 28 and 15 or something. Crazy year. Never was able to lead any team he's been on to any playoff success, and he did kind of have like a fall off at the end of this like decade. He's kind of sucked in the past couple years, but most players had. I mean, it's hard. You have to just be drafted at the right time and get lucky to be at the peak of your game for an entire decade. There's only a couple players on this list that really were, so I'm not gonna hold that against him, but he got the MVP, and they were a successful team. I mean, like, it's not like I'm taking some guy that played for a shitty team and has an MVP. I mean, he made a finals. They made consistent playoff runs. But when you're talking an individual player, this guy has an MVP. And, everybody below him, Jokic did, but Jokic just didn't have anything to back it up, really. But they had finals appearance. They've had some team success, just not able to go all the way just yet. Maybe they do. But Blake Griffin and the Nets probably won't. Anyways, on to number 5 now. We're going to take Kevin Durant. Durant actually has a really good resume. He won an MVP a couple years back for the Pacers. Has been on several competitive playoff teams. No, I don't think he has a Finals MVP, but he does have an NBA championship with the Thunder. So Durant's had two different successful teams now in the decade so far. He's got an MVP to back it up, so a lot of All-NBA teams. I mean, the forwards are so stacked that he doesn't have as many All-NBA first teams as he probably deserves, just because you got to think of, there's LeBron, Melo, there's more guys, but I'm blanking because I'm doing this all live. Oh, this looks interesting. But yeah, we are on now to number 4. Number 4, this guy, probably a lot of you wouldn't expect him to be this high. Really solid. I was just kind of glazing over the all NBA teams looking for like prepping for this that night. And man, I'm telling you, this guy has a lot more like all NBAs and stuff than you would really imagine. And that's going to be Russell Westbrook, man. He is a consistent like all NBA first team guy. Had a really good career really with the Thunder. Won what was I gonna say? Won a Finals MVP with the Thunder. I think he might have went to another Finals. I'm not positive. Don't really remember. But man, he had a really good career with OKC. A lot of All-NBA first. I'm pretty sure he was on some defensive teams as well. What the? You fuckers! Get away, asshole! I was looking at my phone. It was supposed to be safe time. I need some food, man. I gotta settle down or something. Anyways, jeez. Streets get lethal out here. Shit. I think I have health regeneration off. So that's a shame. Let's get to a mount. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting focused on my Minecraft. Anyways, yeah, big fan of Russell Westbrook. He had a really good career in the 2010s. He belongs number 4 to me. Now number 3. I'm gonna go Dwight Howard here at number 3. He won 8 straight depoys, something that we'll probably never see again. Consistent, like every year for like most of the 2010s, was an All-NBA first team guy. Definitely belongs in the top 3. Doesn't have the MVP, doesn't have the team success, but still got to put him number 3 just because of the crazy amount of All-NBA first team and 8 depoys in a row. I mean, an insane career, one of the best centers of all time. Number 2, you guys aren't going to like this one, but it's LeBron. And I get it. He's fallen short of expectations for what we think LeBron is, No playoff success at all, really. Has made it to one final in the decade, but you gotta put him here. He's got 4 MVPs in the decade, 5 in his career. So, I mean, you can't not put him here. I'm just gonna kill myself real quick. So I get my health back. Anyways. But, I mean, you can't knock him because he's been to the finals one time, I guess, so whatever. But doesn't have any playoff success. But he does have 4 MVPs and a ton of All-NBA first teams, ton of defensive teams. So I can't, me personally, I'm not gonna discredit him here. You gotta look at those 4 MVPs, and if you're talking about, individual success, you can't take a guy who has 4 MVPs off the list, and that's just me. All right, now we'll move on to the top 10 GMs, and I know this one's gonna piss some people off. If you're not on the list, it doesn't make you a bad GM. Man, there's probably been close to 30 GMs so far. It's hard to put out 10 of you guys because there's a lot of good GMs, man. And so if you're left off the list, it doesn't. I'm not meaning it harshly, man. You're a good dude. I like all of you. And it really sucks. I don't want to piss anybody off, but just know it's nothing personal, man. Oh yeah, I forgot number 1. Derrick Rose is number 1. I think everyone knew that. I mean, he's ridiculous. He's got like 2 MVPs, 2 Finals MVPs, but he has like some of the craziest stats you'll ever see. I mean, he's had some ridiculous years. Yeah, Derrick Rose is undoubtedly. All right, now we're on to the GM thing. And like I said, so I'm going to talk about what goes into my thought process here. I don't. I mean, obviously, it's a matter of like what kind of trades you make, what type of decisions you make, this, that, and the other. But also, if you make good decisions year in and year out, and you don't have success, then what does that say? It's going to be gauged on team success, playoff success. Like not solely, but I mean that's I'm factoring that in. It's not solely based on do I think you make good moves and good trades. So keep that in mind. If you've had some bad luck over the past couple years and you haven't had good playoff runs, haven't had good team success, um, man, there's the 10 teams that make this list. Let me look and just for jog my memory before I get talking about this. But yeah, I think like all the 10 teams on this list have made it to a final. There's one team that hasn't. But I mean, like that's just like the criteria we have right now, man. There's so many good GMs. The league wasn't dominated in this sim like it was in real life by the Cavs and Warriors. And I mean, I know the Kings and Hornets. Everyone says that, but the Kings and Hornets played each other in the finals once. You know what I'm saying? They won a lot of finals. They won 5 finals, but a lot of different teams were in and out of the finals. So I don't know. Just keeping that out there. Don't hate anyone. First honorable mention is Ian Ibaka. Had a really great career. It was just a short career, so I can't put him above some guys that played a full 10 years. Good GM. Had a conference final under his belt. Was at the top of the Eastern Conference for years with Dwight Howard and his Magic. Uh, I can't rationalize putting him any higher on 5 or 6 years of being a GM compared to a lot of you guys who did a full 10. Now, next one. This was a sad one. I put Jermaine at an honorable mention. And it was hard for me to give him a top 10 spot because they haven't had any playoff success yet. But man, he does do a lot of good things as a GM. I know he got some hate lately because of a bad trade, but Jermaine makes some good decisions as a GM. He is a good GM. Don't get it twisted. Really does a really good job in the draft. He built a really deep roster. I think if he has some better luck, we're talking about this guy being really high on the list. But I couldn't put him high just because I think they made it past the first round like once. Um, he's a good GM, great GM. Dealt a bad hand, I think, honestly. Just my opinion. Now we'll get on to the top 10. And like I said, guys, nothing personal here. I mean, I think everyone that I mentioned in this video is and even if I don't mention you, you're a good GM. Like, don't get it twisted. Starting at number 10, I'm gonna put Ricky Blake in the Cavs. Ricky in the Cavs really struggled so far. In the first bit of the sim. But they brought it back and they've had a couple competitive years. No finals to show for it and only made one finals appearance really. So I'm gonna put them at 10 just because they've had so much success lately, being at like the top of the league. But I mean, he made a major free agency signing. Really has had some underrated draft picks. I mean, he drafted really good in this last draft. Um, anyways, he does a good job. Does a good job. And yeah, they've had some decent success over there. Made good choices. Number 9, we're going to go Greg Herter and the Suns for about the same reason. The Suns weren't really competitive at first, but Greg did a lot better of a job drafting. I could honestly, in hindsight, I might put him one ahead of this because they did make a finals appearance. But drafts well, trades well. Made a finals appearance, had some playoff success. He ended up with Jokic and AD together on the same team, and he has a crazy roster. All right, now, I got some food, man. Let's go on an adventure. On to number, what is this? 7? We're gonna say Neil McKenzie and the Pacers. Neil McKenzie, he has an interesting GM style that would not be for everyone. I think very, very like trade savvy, aggressive, a GM based. This is the first time he's gone rebuild all sim. And I really always was waiting for the fall off with him. I was always kind of plotting, not plotting, but I kind of always thought it was coming that eventually this guy was gonna fall off because he had no picks. Would trade all of his picks, go all in free agency, never would have a young roster. But lo and behold, he stayed in the top 5 in the East for forever, man. And so I can't put him any lower just because I respect the style. Oh shit, look at this. I'm not even gonna fuck with that, man. I'm not ready for that shit. I'm just gonna keep on walking. Keep it pushing. Hell no, bro. All right, you got it. You got it, bro. I'm all right. Appreciate it. But yeah, he's a great GM. Like the fella, they stayed competitive in the East, you know, in like the top 4 or 5 teams forever. Didn't have a lot of playoff success, but I mean, they always were in. I mean, like in the title picture for several years with so many different teams. Um, on number 6, I have actually he stepped down this year. I forgot to report that, but Starchy Chaff. I know him as Anthony Simmons. He was over the Wolves. Also had a really short tenure, but man, he made such a good turnaround with the Wolves in that span that I felt the need to put him this high on the list. Uh, Quickly took a team that was like one of the bottom 5 in the NBA, and moved them into being a final. I mean, they made the finals. Uh, and I attribute a good amount of that to him. I mean, he's a good GM. Um, Now on to the next one. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is number 6. Um, Samari King from the Wizards. You're writing yourself off a little bit, man. You've been worried about making the list. You are definitely in the top 6. I mean, you got a ring, one of the 6 teams with the ring, so that's obviously going to be a big deal. Get some bonus points for that. But what was I going to say? Yeah, they were at the top of the Eastern Conference for years. He had a really phenomenal free agency, but also he had a couple good draft picks here and there as well. He did a good job of keeping a solid roster despite having like zero cap space to work with it. And that was their downfall, you know, in the end of the day. But he always did a good job trying to make it work. So yeah, I give him credit for that. What is all this over here? Some structures. Is that a castle? Yes. Oh, it's like a coral reef. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah, he did a good job. Definitely deserves to be in the top 6. Like I said, he's one of the teams that won a title, so I'm not gonna put him any lower than that because he won a championship. Now on to the top 5. Top 5 is pretty competitive. Um, Actually, no, I think he's one of the 5 to win a championship. I don't think 5 teams won a chip. Damn, dog. I got something wrong with me, don't I? Why am I going so slow? Who cursed me? Should I kill my... Alright, I'm gonna kill myself. The dog is tweaking. Alright, anyways, on to the top 5. Number 5 is gonna be the Clippers. And I know they didn't win any championships, but I've got to put them here just because they were consistently competitive, year in, year out. Always made great draft picks, great free agency moves, and even when I thought that they were gonna suck, sometimes they found a way to stay competitive. So I commend them for that. They were a good team for so long. They probably should have had a finals, but Derrick Rose, of course, had the infamous 3-0 comeback. But I've got to put them at the 4 spot, even though they don't have a ring, just because they made so many great decisions, and were really just a good he was such a good GM, man, and had so much success. But yeah, they were just like cursed, as many people like to say and believe. Now on to number 4, and this guy number 4, man, I don't know how they were so good. He kind of just got carried by the easiest start ever, but he did make some good moves along the way, so I'm gonna tip my hat to him for that. But AJ Navas and the Thunder that's number 4. He's been at the top of the West, which is so stacked, for like 10 years. This is the first year they've ever not been competitive. I mean, last season they were like a 5 seed, and that felt disappointing, you know. He's made good signings, made good trades, and despite his inactivity, he's kept them competitive for 10 years in such a stacked conference. So, in my opinion, he belongs in the top 10 for that reason alone. I mean, not top 10, top 4, and for that reason alone. Dominating the West like that was so stacked, that's not easy. And he won a championship as well. Again, he did have an easy start, but he made some good trades too along the way. Reshaped that team and had to regroup around their core a couple times. Man, you gotta stop whatever you're doing. You gotta calm down. My dog's tripping. It's my aunt's dog, not mine, but he tripping. But yeah, I mean, I think if this guy has one more ring just because of how consistently successful he was, that we're talking about a big four instead of a big three. But I mean, obviously we know the big three GMs are coming up next. The multi-time champions, you know. So, anyway, let's get right on into it with that. Number 3, top 10 GMs, we're going to talk about the Bulls. And man, Baby Kilo 445, by the way. That's his user. A lot of people would discredit the Bulls and say that they had an easy start because he had Rose, man. But we've seen what happens when Derrick Rose is by himself. He tried to tank one year and they were 12 seed. Granted, all they had was Rose. So Rose does give you a boost. But Derrick Rose isn't the reason you make the playoffs. Derrick Rose isn't the reason you win championships at all. I mean, he did a great job every year. He made good trades to reorganize their roster and reshape their roster. He retooled their roster around Derrick Rose when they started to age. I mean, and Amari, that is a factual statement. You know, their core started aging. He flipped them all at the perfect time, kept D Rose, didn't give up hope, and rebuilt a solid roster by great draft picks. We've seen this guy just do it all. He made great trades, great draft picks, great signings, all around Derrick Rose maybe, but he was very successful, and we saw him do it all to build around Derrick Rose. So I don't care what people say. You can say he had an easy start. You can say whatever you want about him. He was a really good GM, and that's why they were successful, not just because of Derrick Rose. It might have helped, but that's not the only reason they were successful. Now on to number 2. And by the way, whatever order you put the top 3 guys in here, I'm not going to hate on you. You're probably right. I mean, if you argue against my points, fair enough. I'm not hating. You know, that's probably the truth. I mean, they're all so close, and you can have such a good argument for any of the 3. This is just my personal opinion and preference. All right. Next up, we're going with the Kings at number 2. Now, the Kings do have more championships than the Hornets, but I'm kind of getting behind the idea that, you know, the Hornets, man, I didn't even realize this until I went back and looked because I saw he said something about it. They never had a good draft pick, and they somehow turned that into. I need to just talk good about the Kings for a minute before I start justifying my reasoning. Anyway, let's just talk good about the Kings because they deserve it. I'm not going to make this about, like, the debate. Man, the Kings have been stellar. They started with DeMarcus Cousins and Tyreek Evans, and they just completely built around that core. Drafted Kawhi Leonard in year 1, and then they just kept putting guys around it. Even when I thought that the core was done, they just never were. I mean, they never were done. Traded Tyreek Evans, thought they were over, and they just kept surprising. He just consistently made good moves. And so for that reason, I'm going to put him number 2. Many great players, many great signings, many great draft picks. He does a really good job. Now on to the number 1, the Hornets, man. And the reasoning the Hornets are at number 1 is because, I mean, they didn't win as many championships as Sacramento, but, I mean, they made really good draft picks, got really good guys late, and I could see the argument for Sacramento at 1. Like I said, any of these top 3, you can put them in whatever order you want, and I'm not going to argue with you. Like, you're right for yourself, you know? Like, I can get behind the idea that any of these guys are the best GM in the league. I just think that the Hornets, kind of, you know, they came out of the mud a little bit. They just didn't have any great picks, really. They just blew everything up for a bunch of mid-draft picks and somehow turned it into, like, this incredibly deep roster of talent. And I'm impressed by that, and so I'm going to put them at the number 1. I mean, they obviously had a ton of success, too, but I think everybody already knows that. But yeah, that's going to be that. As far as top franchises go, however, pretty sure my top 10 franchises, I have the Kings at number 1, Bulls at number 2, Hornets at number 3, Thunder at number 4, Clippers at 5, Wizards at 6, Cavs at 7, Suns at 8, Magic at 9, Pacers at 10. That's my top 10 franchises. I'm just not going to go yap about them because it's basically like the same reasoning as the GMs almost. But yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. That's pretty much the whole stream. I just wanted to get that out there because it is top 10. Oh, wait, don't leave the stream. Stop. You aren't allowed to. I have one more thing to say. All decade teams. All decade first team. Rose is at the point guard. Westbrook's at the shooting guard. LeBron's at the small forward. Blake Griffin's at the power forward. Dwight Howard's at the center. All-decade second team. John Wall's at the 1. D Wade's at the 2. Blake Griffin's at the 3. Not Blake Griffin. Kevin Durant's at the 3. Kawhi Leonard's at the 4. DeMarcus Cousins at the 5. All-decade third. Chris Paul's at the 1. James Harden's at the 2. Kobe's at the 3. AD's at the 4. And Jokic is at the 5. Argue with a wall. All-defensive first team for the decade. Jimmy Fredette at the 1. Dwayne Wade at the 2. Kawhi Leonard at the 3. Anthony Davis at the 4. Dwight Howard at the 5. All-decade defensive second team. Chris Paul at the 1. Russell Westbrook at the 2. LeBron at the 3. Giannis at the 4. Tyrese Thomas at the 5. I started an all-decade sleeper team, but all I got to was Jahlil Okafor, Jabari Parker, and Gooey Grant. There's definitely more out there, but I just decided I'm not gonna go rewatch all the drafts to look for them. And then I did an all-decade AI team as well. Just because I was like, I enjoy the AI. Number 1 is C.J. Bradley at the point guard. Special. Jamal Thompson is at the shooting guard. I have Drew Bledsoe at the small forward, who I didn't even create. He's just an AI that somehow started popping off. You want to do people I created, Quinn Rose would probably be here. At the power forward, I have Dabovich from the Hawks. He's really good. At the center, I have Njanu Oba from the Knicks. We're the highest overall AI actually put out in the draft. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. I had a risers and fallers. Biggest risers were obviously Jimmer, Jahlil Okafor, Jabari Parker, Derrick Rose, because he can get hurt. Dwight Howard was a big riser. Fallers, I put LeBron because of his lack of playoff success. I think Steph's honestly the biggest faller, though he is having a little comeback season this season. And yeah, I couldn't think of anybody else that like really fell super far. Maybe, I mean, honestly, Embiid after like looking at his stats this season. Embiid's kind of starting to look like he's going to get on that faller list eventually. But yeah, that's it, guys. It's the whole video. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for stopping by and watching stuff. Love everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope your families are doing well. Yeah, I'm in the stream now. Best team in 5 years, probably the Heat. I could see the Blazers though. See you, boys.